on this computer.
Okay. Welcome everyone to our contemplative time. I will do a reading followed by a time of silence, and then Jackson will sing, and then I will follow that with the treatment. So I invite you now to get comfortable. Close your eyes or lower your gaze. Breathe in deeply, and then let go. Feel yourself settle into your deeper self. As I read first from Ernest Holmes, How to Use the Science of Mind. Illusions can change, but realities cannot. A knowledge of truth can dissipate an illusion. Illusions can never dissipate truth. The divine presence is always health, harmony, and wholeness. And then from Dr. Joseph Murphy, Think Yourself to Health, Wealth, and Happiness. There is a miraculous healing power within you for which no healing is too great. There is no great or small in the God that made us all. There is no big or little, no hard or easy. Do not give power to the ailment or condition. Give power and allegiance to the infinite healing presence. Learn to let go and relax. Realize that the creative intelligence that fashioned your body and your entire human body can heal its own handiwork. Be assured that this infinite healing presence is instantly available. You can always draw on its power through the creative law of your own mind. Make use of this power now and bring about healing in your life. For with God, all things are possible. Matthew 19:26. I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord. Jeremiah 30:17.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
The face of God, the expression of God. How wonderful to be an expression of the divine, each and every one of us. As we go forth now, I'm just knowing right here and right now that our true God self shines forth so brightly from each and every one of us, loving, blessing, healing, and uplifting us to our highest and best. As we call forth great wisdom, love, and healing for ourselves and for the planet. Thank you, God, that this service is absolutely wonderful. Each and every one is blessed and uplifted and inspired to greater heights of glory, all possible through our connection with the divine, the truth of our being. Thank you, God. And so it is.
Thank you, Catherine and Jackson. Jackson, you were muted, so we didn't get to hear you sing that time,
Oh, I'm sorry.
but that's okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.
And I want to remind you that Catherine is speaking to us from Hawaii. So we accept your aloha blessings. Thank you very much. So this morning my talk is called G.P.S. And most of us know that to be that global positioning system. And we're going to look at it in a few different ways today. But first we want to take this quote from our global vision. And oh, my picture isn't on there. You can't see me. There we go. From our global vision, we envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought, a world where each and every person discovers his or her own personal power and ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. I love this statement. I truly do envision us awakening to our spiritual magnificence and discovering how powerful we are. I know that's what the Science of Mind teaches us, and that's what we are sharing out in the world, whether we know it or not. Just by our livingness, we're doing this. So I wanted to talk to you, first of all, about, let me go back here for a minute. First of all, in this idea for GPS, I started thinking about different ways I could use those 3 letters, and I'll share those later. But one of the things that really came to me is even in this global vision, there is that idea of having to trust principle, trust the one, trust ourselves, just trust absolutely everything, especially when you see things appearing to be so chaotic. To trust and know that in truth, everything is working out perfectly. And you know, on the back of all of our money, it says, "In God we trust." And I love it when I'm paying something in cash, which I don't normally do, but when I am paying something in cash and I notice that on our dollars, I think, yes, I trust in God. I love that. You know, I know that, like all of us, that we have faith in this principle, this divinity, this higher power, the force, whatever we want to call it. And we see the results of it in our life. And we see the results of it in the lives of the people around us. Somebody asked me the other day what our teaching was about. And I said my cocktail party line that I came up with years and years ago when I was in Hawaii doing a house blessing for Kalian and her husband and her family. And someone came up to me, and here I am with a drink in one hand and a joint in the other. Now, you know, it wasn't legal then, but, you know, that was the way things were. But, and that's, you know, many, many years ago. And this man said, "So tell me in 13 words or less, what is it that you guys teach?" And I thought for a minute, and what came out of my mouth was, "God is all there is, and it's done unto us as we believe." And I'm sticking to that. For 35 years now, I've been sticking to that. God is all there is, and it's done unto us as we believe. That, and in that believing has to be the idea of trusting. So, here something I thought about, especially with the way life is right now. It seems like as we begin on our spiritual path, I think we actually get called to that path. We're on it anyway, but we begin to be conscious of a call to it. We ask ourselves, do I believe in God? And notice I have a question mark after this one. So do I believe in God? Can I trust God? And this is the beginning, because we don't really know God, nor do we know if we can trust in it. And as we move along our path and we start doing our own investigations and perhaps our own meditations or prayers or whatever, we begin to say, in God I trust. And there's 4 dots after that. And for me, those 4 dots are but. In God I trust, but at this stage, we trust a little bit. We're working on it, and we've seen a few results, but we're in the place where we play let's make a deal with God. We say, okay, God, I'll do this if you do this for me. So there's always a but there. It's like we're hoping to obtain God's favor with bribes. And I remember doing that years and years ago. Okay, God, I'll never eat another pint of ice cream all at one time if, or you all have your own bargains that you've made with the divine. So then we go into the next degree, and this is in God I trust, period. And to me, this sounds like this is it. In God I trust. That's it. However, sometimes life seems to paint us into corners, and there's no time to bribe or cajole God to save us, so to speak. And so we just grit our teeth and we do what we have to do. We're thinking, God, help me. I don't know what to do now. I trust you to take care of me. And in a way, I think this would be called foxhole religion. I can see in TV pictures of, soldiers in the foxholes, and the bombs are coming, and they're hoping that they don't get hit, and yet they have to do their work, etc., etc. And, they have this is where I see this in God I trust. Right here, right now, I'm in crises. So I'm going to trust. However, what seems to happen with this type of trust is that when the ordeal is over, you forget. You act like that was a one-time only event. It's easy to forget that your trust worked. Now, in the 4th degree, we really learn that God is real for us. And we can say with faith, in God I trust, with an exclamation point. It's like, woohoo, God is so wonderful in my life. And life works all the time. And so we believe that God or the law does the work and we're the beneficiaries of it. And we trust that infinite intelligence is going to work through us completely, and we're going to live in grace. In God we trust. With an exclamation point. So I want to live there. In that place where it is, in God I trust, all the time. So now, what do you do with that? What do you do with this idea of trusting? Well, one of the things, here's our G.P.S. The first idea I had for this G.P.S. was a gut processing station. One of the things I know is that, as you can see, this woman has her gut saying, hey, I have a strong opinion about this. And that there's 2 opinions that are expressed. One is contraction and one is expansion. And so my feeling is that as we're moving along our spiritual path, we learn how to trust our gut. Contraction feels really heavy. It feels really dense. It's almost paralyzing. it's like intuition's red light. And here I'll have to say that when I'm talking about these GPSs, I believe GPS is an idea for our intuition. And our intuition for me is the voice for the divine. You know, the divine is infinite. And so I don't think we could really hear an infinite voice, or we would, maybe our brains would explode. Who knows? But it's like the things they use for electricity, where the full on electricity is coming into your house, and then the breakers or whatever they are break it down so that you can use it to toast, or you could use your oven, or you could use it for your computer or whatever. So the intuition for me is that thing that takes that infinite voice, that infinite intelligence, and brings it into us so that we can hear it and understand it. And the first place I think it comes to us is in our gut. So if we're feeling contracted about any choices we're trying to make, I think we should really look at why and what that is. And sometimes what happens is that we feel something in our gut, but our mind goes, oh yeah, but. For instance, maybe there's a job that opens up and the job pays a whole lot of money, a lot of money. And then another job opens up and it's something that would just fulfill you, would satisfy your soul so much. And yet that money, the mind goes, go for the money, go for the money. And the gut is going, I have a strong opinion about this, because your being really wants to do is that place where it can be soul satisfied, right? It wants to feel expansive. That's the other signal received here. Contraction and expansion. Now, expansion feels light. It brings a sense of relief, a sense of peacefulness, a sense of knowing. I mean, I remember, this just popped in my mind. I remember I was looking for a new place to live in Glendale, California, this many years ago. And I had looked at quite a few and hadn't found the one that I wanted yet. And I remember walking up to this door. And even before I got to the door, when I was still out on the sidewalk looking at the door, I had this knowing, this one's it. And I remember going and knocking on the door, and it opens, and there's a hallway. It was a 2-story townhome, and there's a hallway that looks straight out to a huge wall of windows, and out those windows was green and beauty and nature, and it was like, yes. There was a sense of relief that came over me. You know, this is it. This is the one. So pay attention to your gut. Pay attention to what is your gut saying about anything, because you'll either feel contracted or expanded. And if you feel expanded, then your soul, your spirit, whatever you want to call it, is saying, this is a big yes, go for this one. So my next one is a gratitude perception system. Dr. Robert Holden says, the miracle of gratitude is that it shifts your perception to such an extent that it changes the world you see. I talk a lot about gratitude. I love gratitude. You know, a friend of mine once wrote on their Facebook page, I am grateful for noticing my G.P.S, gratitude perception system, for noticing that it was powered off this morning and had the good sense to turn it on and recalibrate it for clear direction. I love that, because don't you agree with me that when things aren't going really well and you focus on what you're grateful for, your whole being gets recalibrated into appreciating life more, and it can move you out of depression, it can move you out of anger, it can move you out of a lot of things. Recalibrate. And you know, I've told you this before, I've been doing 5 gratitudes a night since 1995. That's when Sarah Van Brainock wrote A Woman's Book of Simple Abundance. And she suggested that. And some nights after I've written the things that I'm grateful for the day, I flip back during that gratitude in that gratitude journal to see what was I grateful for last year on this date? What was I grateful for 6 months ago? And that whole idea of immersing yourself in gratitude and seeing what you have to be grateful for leads you into receiving even more to be grateful for. Remember, it's done unto you as you believe. And part of that statement is wherever your attention goes, the energy flows. So if you're focused on being grateful, and regardless of what's happening in the world around us, in whatever arena it is, you can always find things to be grateful for. And in turn, it's like the universe says, oh, look, she's grateful or he's grateful for this. Let me give him something more to be grateful for. And I just love that idea. And that whole idea of recalibrating is really good too. In fact, that's in my third one, which is God's positioning system. The third one, this is definitely our connection to spirit, to that God within that keeps us on track in our lives. And sometimes that God positioning system has to recalibrate things. So maybe I heard a story not long ago about how somebody was actually treating to get a new job, and then they got fired from the current one. And they figured, well, my treatments aren't working. Look, I got fired. Well, no, everything is being recalibrated so that they can be on their right path. And one of the things that I know about this God positioning system is that it will always do what is necessary to keep us on the right path. If I've chosen, for instance, to live a life of grace and be loving and be kind, and that's my choice, my conscious my conscious choice. It like activates this God positioning system so that whatever I do or whatever I attract to me will keep me on that path of being loving and kind and compassionate. I might try to go off another direction. The mind wants to go off on another direction, right? It says, no, this would be better. But the truth is, we might go off on that path, but the G.P.S. will recalibrate us and put us back on the path that we're supposed to be on. Not that we're supposed to be on it from anything outside of us, but because of our own choices. And so we always need to look and see if we need to be recalibrated. I think that recalibration is meditation, is spiritual mind treatment, is affirmations, is spiritual journaling, it's taking classes, it's any of those types of things. And we're always doing something to recalibrate ourselves. So you have 3 G.P.S. systems active in you right now. You have a physical one, the gut processing station. You have a mental one, the guidance, mental and emotional, actually, the guidance, gratitude perception system. And then you have the spiritual one, which is God's positioning system. So isn't that wonderful? We have one G.P.S. and it's doing all this stuff for us. But I have something else, a 5th degree of trust. When I talked to you about those 4 degrees of trust, it was more about the old consciousness where we thought God was something else. God was separate from us. God was outside of us. And yet the 5th degree of trust for me is that it's not God working through us, for us, it's God in us, as us. I am becoming more and more clear in my own spiritual work that there isn't 2 entities in this body, God and me. There's only God expressing as me. And so there's a level of trust that's even higher than any of the other ones I was talking about. To trust that when I speak my word for something or for someone, it's God in me working as me. It's God in me working as itself, expressing as me. I don't know really how to say it because, it's really hard to let go of the idea that there's God and then there's us. Except for perhaps when you look at quantum physics, which says that energy is everything. There is nothing that is not energy. This table that I'm sitting at, this computer that I'm working with, the airwaves that are going between us, all of that is energy. And what we're beginning to know even more is that it is divine energy. It is the energy of love, and love is the greatest healing energy in the universe. So we have to pay attention. We really have to pay attention to what our thinking is, what our feelings are, especially as we go through the times like these times. If we can come to everything from the consciousness of love, and it's not the love that we think of one for another, for a significant other or a parental love or something like that. This is an unconditional love. An unconditional love looks at everything that's happening out there and says, this too is God. And I know that everything is balancing. I know, as I said in my last week and probably the week before, in my new affirmation, which is, the pandemic is over. Everyone is well. All are well. The thing that we're really doing now in this 5th degree of trust is trusting in the final result. What is the result that you want? In anything in your life, what is the result that you want? Treat from that place. I know for all of us that we're moving forward along our individual paths. And we're in one of these degrees of trust. We're learning how to use this G.P.S. system. We're all on this journey together. That's what I love about it. It seems like a solitary journey, but the truth is we're here to support each other. We're here to trust each other. We're here to know that it's all energy, divine energy. It's all love. So Roger Teal, in the wonderful book called This Life is Joy, that the practitioners read together, he says, by listening to the deep wisdom within you, your intuition, your inner guidance, your unexplainable knowing, you will catch the energy and direction of the leading edge of your soul's initiative, your true self's core intention to give, live, and shine. Yes. Let's say this affirmation together. My internal guidance is strong and clear. I listen within, follow my guidance, and I am divinely guided to greater good that is more than I could ever imagine. And let's go into treatment. How grateful I am to know and to remember that all there is God. Absolutely all there is. And God is love. So all there is love. And love is a divine energy that is unconditionally loving and infinitely intelligent. And this unconditional love and infinite intelligence works through law. So I speak this word into the law for all of us. And I know that we are ready and willing to pay attention to our internal GPS system. We are ready and willing to step out and be more than we've ever been before in our lives. We're ready to step up and trust, absolutely trust, that regardless of appearances, whether they're in our own lives or in the world's life, that in truth, everything is in absolute divine order. So I know for us, whether we're thinking about our health or our finances or our relationships or how we do the work of our hands in the world, I know for us that we're moving into a newer level, another level of consciousness. And this consciousness is the consciousness of the I am that I am. And so we celebrate this with every fiber of our being. We let this idea, I am that I am, sink deep within ourselves, deep within our subjective mind, so that from this point on, all that we do is from this point of view. How wonderful this is. And so I celebrate us coming together. I celebrate our spiritual community and how powerfully good we are. I celebrate the fact that each one of us got something to take home with us today. That we're embodying even more of the truth. That truth, that God is all there is. And it's done unto us as we believe. So I believe the pandemic is over and we are all well. I believe that our world is in perfect balance. Our planet is in perfect balance. I believe in peace and compassion and kindness. And for all of this, I am eternally grateful. And I release these words into the law, knowing that they are so, and so it is.